you become a victim, afterwards, they have advocates that will help you unwind the mess that an identity thief is going to create.
This is Good Day New Mexico with Irene Estrada.
Be careful of what you post on your social media sites. You could be opening up yourself for ID theft. We'll show you how to protect your identity. That's next. A Chicago woman thought it was harmless, sharing her pictures, her birthday, and her location on Facebook. But it turns out a thief used it to steal her identity and her money. Lauren Jiggets has her story.
There are over 600 million people on Facebook right now. It's a fun way to catch up with friends and family, but what Donna Calabrese did not know is that her Facebook profile became a gateway for thieves to steal her identity.
And found out that someone used my social security number to file their taxes.
The thief changed her address on her debit card and ordered themselves a new card, deducting money from her account. All from information they got from her Facebook profile.
It's really scary because they know all my information. They know my name, my mother's name, my father's name, my address, where I grew up, my social security number, everything.
It's a huge problem now, and it's something that you really have to be vigilant about.
Lena Rao is a writer for TechCrunch.
People can actually take some of that information and then find your social security number. And it's a lot easier now to find your social security number. People have an expertise now in doing that.
A study by Consumer Reports this year found 34% of Facebook users surveyed post their full birthday on their profile. 20% do not use Facebook's privacy controls, and 23% say they do not know some of their Facebook friends well enough to feel completely comfortable about their own or their family's security and safety. Seemingly harmless information on Facebook can lead to a major financial headache.
I think that people don't realize that some of the basic information, like where you live or your date of birth, are actually ways that identity thieves can steal your personal information.
Rao says Facebook makes it easy to protect your profile. First, consider removing your birthday and the city where you live, and tweak your privacy controls so that only your friends can see your profile. And most important, be careful who you add as a friend.
Make sure that your settings are only your friends. And when you do get friend requests, you really need to vouch for the identity of all the people that can see your information on Facebook.
A lesson Donna learned all too well.
I'm just much more cautious. I don't want anyone to know any more detail about me. October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and if you don't want to end up like Donna, you have to protect yourself. Author of Easy Money and Scam School, Chuck Whitlock, is here to tell us how we can protect ourselves. I love the idea of staying connected with friends and family, but I'm not so sure about the identity theft. Tell us how we can protect ourselves.
Well, first of all, let me say that identity theft is a crime. And one of the big problems that we have is that most people don't think that they can become a victim of identity theft. And the reality is all of us can become a victim. You, me, everybody we know can become a victim of identity theft. If a rogue employee in an educational institution or in a work environment or a medical office decides to sell your data, there's not much you can do about that. So the first thing you need to do is know that you can become a victim of identity theft. You can become one of those 9+ million people every year that it happens to. And then you need to be very, very careful with your social media account. You need to have a password. Many people will have passwords on their PCs and their home computers and their computers at work, but they won't put them on their tablets or their smartphones or other electronic devices. So very important that they have a password. Secondly, don't post personal information. And lastly, Experian did a survey, and they found out that over 50% of the people that are on social media sites don't log out. They don't deconnect, and that's a very important thing for everybody to do.
Especially if you're in a hurry and you just click the little X box, you get out, but virtually it's still open out there in cyberspace. Is that correct?
Well, that's right.
Okay.
That is correct.
Now tell us, how can we tell how do we know if our account has already been compromised?
Well, there's two things. One is check your bank statements, debit card, credit card statements the minute they arrive. Don't wait a week. And if there's anything that looks out of sorts, irregular, call your bank, call the credit card companies, cancel the cards, get new ones issued. You may even want to cancel your bank account and open up a new one if that information has been compromised. And secondly, and more importantly, go to ProtectMyID.com. ProtectMyID.com is going to give you some help before identity theft happens, and then if you become a victim afterwards, they have advocates that will help you unwind the mess that an identity thief is going to create. And trust me, they're going to create a mess if you have your identity taken from you.
Now, are you allowed to disclose which sites are more vulnerable to identity theft?
All social media sites are vulnerable if you don't have a password, if you don't use a little bit more complicated passwords with numbers and letters. If you put up a lot of personal information and then you allow friends to come in, there's not much anybody can do to protect you regardless of what site you're on. And if you don't log out, there's not much you can do. And if you don't have an element of paranoia and you use those pop-ups, that could be a huge problem because they can plant a Trojan on your computer and steal all your data.
So bottom line, basic rule of thumb is any social media is vulnerable to identity theft, and we just need to safeguard ourselves by protecting our passwords and not having a lot of our personal information out there. So thank you so much, Chuck. I appreciate all your time, and I hope I hope our viewers are much more educated after this.
And I hope they remember that www.protectmyid.com. That's the source for the information that they're going to need.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's all for Good Day New Mexico.